Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. Noah Carmichael and Cole Freilich with me in the booth tonight. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the Daytona 250 for the Bluegrass iRacing Series. The top 10 going to look like this. We've got Wyatt Brackett starting on pole, Scott Fritz in second place. Third gives us Matt Grenier. Grenier. I'm going to say that's Grenier. I'm hoping that's correct. Or Grenier. Probably Grenier. Matt Grenier in third place. Travis Miller back there in fourth. I should say up there in fourth. Row 3 gives us John Fix, Chris LeBourgeois, and then it's Anthony... These are some names. Anthony Petrillos, I'm supposing. Joshua Abb in 8th place. Then it's John Kinder and Adam Broyles.
Starting first, outside of top 10, we're going to find Jason Collins lined up beside him, the 38 of David Brackett. 13th is you're going to find Jack Bauer. Alongside him, Brandon Robertson. Starting back in the 15th position is going to be Justin Winters. His outside, Brian Terry. Behind them is going to be John Elliott and John Smith. And then rounding out your top 20 is going to be Daniel Worthington and I'm going to guess this one, Wiegand.
And then starting in 21st, you're going to have Nicholas Nagel. Nick Mills will start to his outside. Timmy McNally will start 23rd. And Brandon Young, who did not take time, will round out your field in 24th. And so we're getting ready to go for a 24-car field here, 100 laps, and it should be one exciting event tonight.
It definitely should. We've got, that's actually a whole lot of cars ready to get going. 24 or so cars this evening. Daytona is always an interesting one, and especially to kick off a season, it can either go great or maybe not so great. But tonight we're going to find out how these guys do for 250 miles. It's 100 laps around the 2.5 mile superspeedway known as Daytona. The green flag flies. We are racing for 100 laps. Brackett leads us onto the flag stand.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stack up back there in the midfield as some of the drivers trying to catch up in line. You can see there, I believe that's a 22 jumping down on the bottom side. He's going to abandon the 100 as he enters turn number 1 for the first time. Right now it's going to be Brackett and Grenier. The first two drivers that are going to get out a bit of a lead as the 22 tries to get out. Oh, he's going to actually pull under the WL line, which is something you see on these restricted plate races. People who start in front is like, I don't want to risk it too early, so they'll drop all the way to the back. You see two cars doing that. They're going to drop to the back, bide their time.
Oh, we're wrecking its lap one. It's a big one.
There's a big one.
That was caused by the 4 car, and I believe it was the 9 car. Those two cars were getting very close to each other on the straightaway, and I believe the 9 just ran the 4 out of room, put him up in the fence, and the 4 just could not get control back of his car, and that kicked off a huge melee. So we'll get the replay of that up, but that was a huge wreck to start off this race.
That it was, Cole. It's just about the big one here on lap number 1. And I saw what you were talking about there. Yeah, there it is. The 9 hits the 4. This is going into turn 3, towards turn 3. The 9 is going to be one John Fix. The 4 is going to be one Anthony Petrillos. And they're going to make contact a few times here entering 3. Eventually, Fix squeezes Petrillos into the wall. He hits the wall, rebounds into the 21, and it is on from there. And you can see what we've got to contend with after that. It's definitely a big incident here. We'll try and widen the shot for you. See what all happens here in turn number 3, and they're just going to keep collecting driver after driver, it looks like, for a while. The number 3 Hooters Chevrolet sliding into things as well down at the bottom of the racetrack. So that means that choice by the 22 of Miller, that was even more validated by that wreck there in turn 3. That's exactly what some of these guys tend to do that. So you see it's just on from there. He collects the 21, John Kinder. 23 gets involved. A lot of new faces, and a lot of them, unfortunately, already pretty scrunched up. Looks like we have single file restarts. We're coming right back to the green flag here, Cole Freilich, and we'll see what these guys can do. A bit of a stack up there on that one.
Yeah, Wyatt Brackett kind of stacked them up right there. You see the 15 diving to the inside. That's Matt Grenier. He's going to have Scott Fritz going with him, and really Scott's going to play spoiler here of who gets going the best, because the car he goes with will definitely matter, because 2-car tandems are a little more prevalent with this current aero package. We've seen it. You saw it at LTAC at Talladega a couple weeks ago. We could see 2 cars hook up and go, but it's really the question of who is the pusher, because if you're a Ford, you got a flatter nose, so it's definitely easier to push in that car. Same with the Toyota, really. the way the Toyota front end lines up. But if you're a Chevy Camaro, you definitely got to be careful because that point on the nose can definitely turn a car at any point.
Yeah, he's going after it now. You see on the shot there, some of the people that were running in that pack behind him have actually started to break away from the start.
There aren't many tracks remaining in oval racing that simply force drivers to back down, but Atlanta is certainly one of them. Featuring 1997's best pavement of the year had to offer, Atlanta is simply worn out. At least the surfaces. Every time roaring V8s revisit this beast in the southeast, Atlanta comes alive and feasts on Goodyear Eagles. Welcome, race fans, to PitStop TV. As usual, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. Trey Patton is with me in the booth. Trey Shuttlesworth with race analysis and social media coverage. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the Daytona 250. We join you tonight from the virtual famed Atlanta Motor Speedway for the second round of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. And Trey, as we kick things off this evening, it's definitely a shortened pre-race show, and we are experiencing some technical difficulties, so bear with us. However, we do have a starting lineup to go through, and we're going to start right off with PitStop TV. As usual, we're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch tonight. Noah Carmichael and Cole Freilich with me in the booth tonight. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV, and this is PitStop TV's live coverage of the Daytona 250 for the Bluegrass iRacing Series. The top 10 going to look like this. We've got Wyatt Brackett starting on pole. Scott Fritz in second place. Third gives us Matt Grenier. Grenier. I'm going to say that's Grenier. I'm hoping that's correct. Or Grenier. Probably Grenier. Matt Grenier in third place. Travis Miller back there in fourth. I should say up there in fourth. Row 3 gives us John Fix, Chris LeBourgeois. And then it's Anthony... These are some names. Anthony Petrillos, I'm supposing. Joshua Abb in 8th place. Then it's John Kinder and Adam Broyles.
Starting first outside of top 10, we're going to find Jason Collins lined up beside him, the 38 of David Brackett. 13th is you're going to find Jack Bauer. Alongside him, Brandon Robertson. Starting back in the 15th position is going to be Justin Winters. His outside, Brian Terry. Behind them is going to be John Elliott and John Smith. And then rounding out your top 20 is going to be Daniel Worthington and I'm going to guess this one, Wiegand.
And then starting in 21st, you're going to have Nicholas Nagel. Nick Mills will start to his outside. Timmy McNally will start 23rd. And Brandon Young, who did not take time, will round out your field in 24th. And so we're getting ready to go for a 24-car field here, 100 laps, and it should be one exciting event tonight.
It definitely should. We've got, that's actually a whole lot of cars ready to get going. 24 or so cars this evening. Daytona is always an interesting one, and especially to kick off a season, it can either go great or maybe not so great. But tonight we're going to find out how these guys do for 250 miles. It's 100 laps around the 2.5 mile superspeedway known as Daytona. The green flag flies. We are racing for 100 laps. Brackett leads us onto the flag stand.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a stack up back there in the midfield as some of the drivers trying to catch up in line. You can see there, I believe that's a 22 jumping down on the bottom side. He's going to abandon the 100 as he enters turn number 1 for the first time. Right now it's going to be Brackett and Grenier, the first two drivers that are going to get out a bit of a lead as the 22 tries to get out. Oh, he's going to actually pull under the WL line, which is something you see on these restricted plate races. People who start up front is like, I don't want to risk it too early, so they'll drop all the way to the back. You see two cars doing that. They're going to drop to the back, bide their time.
We're wrecking its lap one. It's a big one.
There's a big one.
That was caused by the 4 car, and I believe it was the 9 car. Those two cars were getting very close to each other on the straightaway, and I believe the 9 just ran the 4 out of room, put him up in the fence, and the 4 just could not get control back of his car, and that kicked off a huge melee. So we'll get the replay of that up, but that was a huge wreck to start off this race.
That it was, Cole. It's just about the big one here on lap number 1. And I saw what you were talking about there. Yeah, there it is. The 9 hits the 4. This is going into turn 3, towards turn 3. The 9 is going to be one John Fix. The 4 is going to be one Anthony Petrillos. And they're going to make contact a few times here entering 3. Eventually, Fix squeezes Petrillos into the wall. He hits the wall, rebounds into the 21, and it is on from there. And you can see what we've got to contend with after that. It's definitely a big incident here. We'll try and widen the shot for you, see what all happens here in turn number 3, and they're just going to keep collecting driver after driver, it looks like, for a while. The number 3 Hooters Chevrolet sliding into things as well down at the bottom of the racetrack. So that means that choice by the 22 of Miller, that was even more validated by that wreck there in turn 3. That's exactly what some of these guys tend to do that. So you see it's just on from there. He collects the 21, John Kinder. 23 gets involved. A lot of new faces, and a lot of them, unfortunately, already pretty scrunched up. Looks like we have single file restarts. We're coming right back to the green flag here, Cole Freilich, and we'll see what these guys can do. A bit of a stack up there on that one.
Yeah, Wyatt Bracken kind of stacked them up right there. You see the 15 diving to the inside. That's Matt Grenier. He's going to have Scott Fritz going with him. And really, Scott's going to play spoiler here of who gets going the best, because the car he goes with will definitely matter, because two-car tandems are a little more prevalent with this current aero package. We've seen it. You saw it at LTAC at Talladega a couple weeks ago. We could see two cars hook up and go, but it's really the question of who is the pusher, because if you're a Ford, you got a flatter nose, so it's definitely easier to push in that car. Same with the Toyota, really, the way the Toyota front end lines up. But if you're a Chevy Camaro, you definitely got to be careful, because that point on the nose can definitely turn a car at any point.
Yeah, he's going after it now. As you see on the shot there, some of the people that were running in that pack behind them have actually started to break away from themselves and are starting to make their way through the field. That 21 and 3 have hooked up with each other. And he gets turned around. That's going to take both of them out. And now the 21 we talked about, he used that fast repair. He had to think about the fact that he didn't have it, and now his race is just about over. Almost gets... He has the rear end of his car ripped off there. That was just a hard impact in the wall, as now he's going to beat shit on the banking.
That was Brian Terry who came flying in there, diving to the apron. He nearly just clobbered the... But I believe it all into turn 3.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want to see at any point in the race. We already saw it on lap 1. We see it again here, lap number 15. So a bit of a bumper hook there. As you said, the number 19 catching the 08, and the 19 is, since we have a lot of new faces here, the 19 is none other than John Smith, 29, as if that wasn't a common enough name. So John Smith gets a piece of the back end of the 08, Nicholas Noggle, and that turns into a very big incident, unfortunately, mostly here for the 21 of John Kinder. So John not serving John very well. We're coming to the green flag here. It's lap 17 of 100, and Cole Freilich, we're back green flag racing. An interesting restart there. They went, and then they didn't, and then they did.
Yeah, there was a bit of a scoring error, I believe, there, because while we were gushing over the 8 car, they had not caught up to the back of these guys. I don't know if there was something going on. There's a car spun. Oh, it is John Elliott. He was spun on the inside there. Don't know what happened to that machine, but the 8 car not having a good day now. You see him on pit lane there, so... all that talking about him now to waste, but Scott Fritz leading us off a turn 2 here. He's got the pretty much reverse scheme of Jimmy Johnson's current paint, driven by Jack Bauer, pushing him down the back straightaway. And then you got Jason Collins, John Fix on the outside, and John Smith there. So a lot of people now getting into the party here.
A lot of good-looking cars out here, Noah, and man, I guess we just shouldn't talk about anybody, because as soon as we talk about John Kinder, right before that caution, he's involved in that caution. We talk about the number 8 of John Elliott, and he goes around coming to the restart. I guess we should just sit here and not talk, huh?
Now he's going to try and run on the bottom. Maybe, so he is in a lead lap. I thought he was actually a lap down still. So no, he's actually just going to take over the position and leave the 3 car hanging. As now we have the 38 lap car to try and work with him. Here comes the 23 driving down the pit road.
Yeah, I do want to mention now that the fuel limit is at half a tank, so we will be seeing pit stops. I heard the 08 radio to the 3, hey, I'm going to pit here in about 2 laps anyway, so I'm just going to get down here. So you will start seeing a bunch of cars come down pit lane, and that really could mess with the strategy of this race.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to see these guys get about the same amount of pit stops that you'd see in your Daytona 500 in real life. they're just going to happen a whole lot more frequently. So we're going to expect these guys down the pit lane quite often this evening, and we should see it this lap or next. The rest of the field coming down the pit lane. So we're going to have to be ready here to cue the replays, because I would not be surprised if we have an incident one of these first few times trying to pit. We'll see if the field comes in this time. There we go. We have a taker. It's not. Oh, and there they go. There they go. You cannot pit from the racetrack. You've got to get on the apron for exactly that reason.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
It do be like that. It does occur.
And welcome back, race fans, to PitStop TV. We're so sorry about the technical difficulties that have cost us several laps here at the start of tonight's event. We were calling some of them there, and then we realized it just was not outputting the signal on YouTube and Facebook and Twitch and such. We got it squared away. Unfortunately, obviously, it did cost some time, but I'll turn it over to Trey Patton and Trey Shuttlesworth, who can give us kind of a rundown of what has happened to this point. Trey, take it away.
Yeah, so far we are on crossing the stripe here under caution, lap 50. Some green flag pit stops happened, and we've had 2 yellows. We are currently under yellow right now. I believe the 3 car of Timmy McNally smacked the wall coming into the quad oval, and that is why we are under caution right now. I believe Trey Shuttlesworth could give us a little more insight on that.
So yeah, we do see 2 early cautions. The very big one involves Timmy McAnally. Well, I say that, but we also had a wreck that involved the race leader at the time and second place at the time. I'll have to go back and look at my social media feed to just quickly recall. I've been keeping a pretty consistent output, and I've unfortunately forgotten who was involved. Brandon Robertson, he was keeping pretty consistent control of the race, but prior to our first pit cycle, he narrowly avoids getting involved in a massive incident in the quad oval. Had to take minimal damage repairs. He had to restart near the tail end. He's back up in the P6 right now. Otherwise, second place at the time, John Kinder. He is currently sitting near the back end of the lead lap. Took some repairs after some pretty critical damage. So he has a long way to go, but we have roughly 70 or 80 laps left of racing. We went into our first pit cycle, and as we get ready to get back rolling here, I think it's worth noting these guys don't have enough tires to take fresh tires on each pit stop tonight.
That's right. Only 3 extra sets of tires after the set that they started the race on. So you get 4 sets of tires to go 134 laps. It really ends up being about 35 or so laps to each set. You can extrapolate from there and do the math as you've got to. I think it's about 34, 35. Regardless, it's Mitch Smith leading the way down the back straightaway here on lap number 51 as we finally get things back underway, at least as far as the live coverage goes. And, well, he's quickly contested there by Nicholas Noggle, who we saw kind of come in and also leave the battle multiple times last week at Daytona. Last week's, I think the teammate to last week's pole sitter, David Brackett, currently runs 3rd place. It's Grenier in 5th. Brandon Robertson, despite apparently being involved in some issues, he is sitting in the 5th position. Wyatt Brackett, last week's pole sitter, in 6th. It's Ed Osborne in 7th. Wes Wiegand in 8th. Then we got Nick Mills and Brandon Young rounding out your top 10. Last week's winner, it's worth mentioning here, Trey, is currently running 11th. We saw him 18th a little while ago, at least before I had to, try and sort all of this out. And if we bring up the point standings that we've got this evening, coming into tonight, of course, being last week's winner, he's got a leg up on everybody else in the field, but he's got to back that race up with another good run tonight, or he will certainly have some problems.
Yeah, most definitely. Having a win is always good to start off the season, or just having a win in general is always good. But definitely need to have a good finish to stay consistent in the point standings, because as you see right now, he only has a 2-point lead over second place to Justin Winters. So definitely want to have a good points finish so he can keep that gap.
So these guys race on. It's now lap 54 of 134. And Mitch Smith continuing to lead. Noggles not that far behind. It's a 2-car breakaway up front. Meanwhile, they're racing for 3rd on back. It's a pod of cars from about 3rd on back through about 10th or so. Looks like right about, 10th or so. Miller has company, though. He's got company from Brandon Young. That's the battle for 11th position. John Fix in there as well. We saw him have his fair share of issues last week, Patton, and it did not fare that well for the number 9. Although he did kind of keep his race alive at random points. He kept kind of getting back into the lead at random spots, playing the strategy game, and kept making his name known. It just wasn't exactly the outcome he wanted.
Yeah, he had all kinds of issues. I believe he had some front end damage and everything, but still managed to bring that car home. And just everything here is actually see a little bit of side drafting, I guess you'd call it there in the corner. I'm not sure if the 113 got a little loose or more so tight into the corner there. You look further ahead, that little gaggle of cars we were talking about, the 33 or the 8, I'm sorry, of Nick Mills. Following right behind, or was right behind, Brandon Robertson there. As you see here, they're running single file train up there on the outside line. They're going to go 2x2 going into 3.
That car up top is Matt Grenier getting stuck out and left out to dry. It's going to be multiple cars going by. You saw John Kinder, who had a really rough weekend at Daytona last Wednesday. I say weekend, and it was actually on a Wednesday. Had a really rough time at Daytona in the season opener. He gets on by. Wes Wiegand follows Ed Osborne, your pole sitter this evening. He gets on by. Wyatt Brackett is the next to try and go on by that 15 car. Matt Grenier is not looking too good here on this run, and you have to wonder how he's handling that tire saving because again, these guys have to manage their tires over the course of the run, and one thing I've noticed with this tire allotment this evening, it really puts everybody into just about the same kind of box for tire strategy. You can't exactly do all the same things that you might do in a race where you have more tires, where you can get off sequence, pit more so along with the cautions as opposed to just when you need to take tires to make it to the end of the race. You're really boxed into the same kind of thing. If you go off sequence, you're going to pay for it, and it looks like Grenier may have gone off sequence here and he's paying for it.
Yeah, he may have gone off sequence, or he could just be, running not as much as he'd like, just to try to save his tires, so more so for like an end of a run type of deal. But from what I'm seeing now, just seeing his speed and everything, I think he might have used everything up a little bit too early. I mean, right now we're on a 27 lap run, or actually on him, he's actually on a 22 lap run. I believe the first time we saw cars come into pit, it was only about 33 laps. So, I mean, like I said, though, tires can be used very quickly here at Atlanta. This track eats tires up. The track's always slick and everything else. I mean, just tire management is definitely key here, and you do not want to use them up, because if you do, as we said, you're going to wash up the track and you're just going to lose all that track position.
On board right here with Matt Grenier, and he made his own little rounds last week at Daytona, making some news, trying to get his way up to the front a few different times. But again, one of those guys that unfortunately just couldn't make it work out for him, and now falling back. And you're totally right, Trey. It could just be he's trying to save his tires, and he just wants to let these guys go by riding their tire tracks for a little while. And I think the way you save tires also is going to change over the course of the evening. Of course, 134 laps, right about 200 miles. I believe it's the Georgia Peach 201, so 201 miles this evening or thereabouts. And the track is going to change. The track is going to take rubber. The track is going to take and lose heat. And that's going to change the way that you attack each corner. And as I said at the top of the show, or at least as I tried to say at the top of the show, this place is one of the few oval tracks left that really forces the driver to back down and race the track, not the other drivers, 95% of the time. Because you are just trying to attack this place, yet also just kind of glide around here as easily as you can, because as soon as you start to push, you're going to run those tires off.
Absolutely. You want to talk about racing the track itself, and how I mentioned that this track is as slick as we lay rubber down. Just as of 5 minutes ago, when I looked at the track temp, right now the track temp is currently 106 degrees. You may not think that's hot. Typically when racing in Atlanta, the track temp's actually kind of usually hotter than that, upwards around like 120 degrees. So right now this is actually fairly cool for Atlanta, at least from what I've seen. But as we get later on, more rubber gets laid down, I expect that track to get hotter. As we see here, 85 degrees outside, wind blowing southwest at about 9 miles an hour. So, I mean, the wind definitely plays a factor in how the car is going to handle. The track temp also plays a huge factor in how the car is going to handle.
Yeah, it really does. Every little bit is going to play into the way these guys attack this place. We have reset the leader here a little bit. Mitch Smith has cleared out to a 3.4-second lead over Nicholas Noggle, and now that second place battle is heating up. You see John Kinder all over the back end of the 08. This is a fight for position down at a turn number 3, and it looks like Kinder's going to win that one out for now. He eases ahead and easily gets on by that number 08 of Nicholas Noggle, who falls into third place. Further back, it's Nick Mills battling with one Wes Wiegand for fourth.
Yeah, touching up on what we were talking about with Matt Grenier, I'm not quite sure what happened to him off of 2 the last lap. I don't know if he got tight or maybe a little loose, but as you can see, he fell off a little bit of the pack there. He was all the way down to the white line. Almost thought he was going to come into pit road, but it looks like he just fell back a little bit. So I don't know if his as we mentioned before, tires are going to be really key here. He's on a 28-lap run. Some guys are on 33 laps. Some of them are on 18 laps, just depending if they've been under the yellow or not. So I expect here soon we're going to see some guys come down pit road.
Yeah, pit stops are certainly going to be interesting to keep tabs on here as the race progresses and we see how these guys try and work their race strategies. Right now we're watching a battle through 3 and 4, and we'll bring up our second camera thanks to Jake Baticki this evening. And you can see this is from the onboard. It doesn't show the Trading Paints paint scheme, unfortunately, but it's on the onboard of the 555 Ed Osborne, looking at those two battling ahead. So you can kind of see what Ed's looking at as these guys try and battle, and just how much, it might not seem like it from these TV cameras, Trey, but how much of the racetrack those guys take up when they go side by side through the corners. Now they single file out for 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but they were definitely blocking the racetrack, and something to always keep in mind with this new Cup Series package is how much clean air makes a difference. Now, it's always been something you want as the race leader or anybody just trying to battle in a NASCAR race. but more so than ever, you need to have clean air to the nose, or you're going to sacrifice a lot of front downforce. And it's a thing that we call aero push, if you're familiar with that term from open wheel racing, particularly rather in Indy cars for the Indy 500 and such. Aero push is super common. You get up underneath somebody and you just have no front downforce anymore, and suddenly your car just pushes.
Yeah, clean air is most definitely a factor. I mean, as you said, you know, aero push or aero tight, you know, being behind, you know, as we saw the onboard of of Ed there. I mean, you mentioned that how much track they actually take up, and you know, it makes the car really tight. It just feels like it just plows. You know, it feels like if I'm trying to even think of how to even say it, just depending on how you modulate the throttle, it feels like you're going to just plow into the wall.
And at that point, it's not necessarily even modulating the throttle, because you could be doing everything right as far as the pedals go. It's just a matter of making sure you have the front downforce. And if you don't, you're simply going to get tight, and then you've just got to limit the damage both to your tires and to your time, and try and get out of it, set yourself back up for another good run at the next corner. It's just unfortunately the way it goes. We do have a 4-car battle shaping up. This is 3rd through 6th place. No, this is 2nd through 5th, rather. 2nd place, Noggle getting caught up here by Wiegand, and I must have missed a pit stop here because we have lost the guy who was leading. That was Mitch Smith, so that's why I was saying 3rd through 5th and didn't quite sound right. Mitch Smith has taken to the pit lane about 4 laps to go, so we missed that pit stop, unfortunately. John Kinder assumes the race lead then, and now these guys battling for 2nd place as Wiegand gets on by the 08 of Noggle. Down the backstretch they go, and they're fighting for 4th behind him.
Yeah, Nick Mills trying to work that outside line. Not quite sure how well it's going to work out for him as he comes up as the 555 of our pole sitter. We see Ed trying to work that 08 of Nick. Not quite really getting it to work out for him right now. Nick right now is currently on a 35 lap stint, so he might be trying to play the long run game here and try to take those tires out as far as he can. Mitch Smith, Trey Schulzworth actually just told me that he opened the pit cycle. As I'm looking through our timing screen here, it looks like we've had about 5-6 cars actually come down on pit road within the last 6 laps. As we see, actually, the 2-car, Brandon Robertson actually just exited the pits.
So John Kinder continuing to lead, and he's reopened that 3.4 second gap over 2nd place, but it's now over Wes Wiegand, who drives away from Ed Osborne. Nicholas Noggle bracket sets the new fastest lap on the racetrack as of the moment. And side by side for 3rd place go Noggle and Osborne. This time Osborne loses a lot of time. I think he's coming into pit right here. Noggle gets tapped, actually, and that's similar to what we saw in the early goings last week.
Oh,
so Noggle's going to go through the grass here as you see Osborne spin and hit the inside wall, rather. But Nicholas Noggle, I'm trying to get up to the 08 car. I'm going to have to, we'll pull up the replay here and see exactly how he slows down for the pit lane. Yeah, he's slowing on the race surface, and you can't do that. We saw McNally do that at Daytona last week, and that's exactly why he gets carried out into the grass. You've got to make sure people know, and they're not behind you if you are going to slow on the race surface, or they just get onto the apron. And it's tough to do here at Atlanta, I'll give them that. But that's exactly what happens if you do it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That is, I was going to point out, as I saw cars coming down, is that you want to make sure that the guys behind you and around you know that you're coming down, and that you don't want to slow down too much on the racing surface, because if you're going to do that, you want to get down on the apron. I've seen some guys go down the apron in turn 3, but more so, if you're going to do that, you want to come down off the exit of 4 more or less, and then let the guys around you know that you're pitting. Unfortunately, you know, like in real life, we can't stick our hand out the window, but you know, there are ways of letting people know. I'm not quite sure if there was contact there or not. It looked like it was close, but you know, he may have just hit the apron, and you know, as we saw, he wasn't really level on the track, so he could have just got a little bit loose there, and then that caused him to lock up and miss the entrance to pit road.
It definitely looked like some contact on my end, at least, on the replay. But, actually, Jason Collins goes way down to the inside of the racetrack. I was just about to highlight Matt Grenier, who we saw have an interesting run to start the race off earlier on, and he was moving forward and then suddenly was moving backwards, just like our pole sitter Ed Osborne. But a lot of these guys have really flip-flopped since the start of the race and have changed things up from where they qualified. Matt Grenier is maybe trying to work on a little bit of a comeback here. We'll see how the pit cycle places him in this longer green flag run if we do keep going green like this. He's currently in 12th spot, but he's working his way up. He's passing Wyatt Brackett here. This is actually a battle for position. This is for 11th.
Yeah, I think after Pitt cycles out here and the current leaders don't get out in front of them, he might cycle out in second if things go his way.
He's going to cycle out in a pretty darn good spot if everything holds. He goes on by the number 8 car of Nick Mills, and now Nick Mills falls victim to Wyatt Brackett and Brandon Robertson as they exit turn number 2. Those battles not full position as Mills is ahead of them.
Yeah, we had a car, I'm not quite sure who it was, went way down on the apron right after we panned off at them. It looked like he got loose. I don't think he wrecked because I don't see any cautions or anything, but we had a car definitely go on the apron out of turn 2 or turn 4 there.
Second place currently belongs to Wes Wiegand, and we talked about him a lot at Daytona. He was in that group with Joshua Abb and Daniel Worthington that were a bit off sequence of the rest of the leaders, and they kept coming in earlier than the lead cars. He currently sits in second spot, and the Milner number 188 finally going to come down the pit lane. So the Milner Design Chevrolet Camaro, I believe that's the correct page name. I'm very sorry if I'm doing my buddy Tubbs Miller wrong there, but either way, the 188 going to come down for service, I would imagine, 4 tires and fuel. Now, these guys could theoretically take left sides on a caution or right sides on a caution, whatever, 2 tires, and save a set of 2 tires in the bank because the sets do go by lefts and rights. That said, I don't think anyone's going to try that tonight. Tires, of course, at Atlanta are always a premium, and I think everybody's just going to opt to go for them. We do have some drivers that still have not pitted. As John Kinder actually does come down the pit lane, your race leader finally entering in. So now, the first driver that is not pitted on this cycle just yet is Daniel Worthington that I mentioned. He looks like he's still on the racetrack. Jason Collins as well. We saw him get down onto the bottom of the racetrack a couple times out of turn number 2. He's definitely battling the handle on that race car, the number 323. John Fix is not pitted yet from what I can tell. The rest of these guys, I think, have all come in. It looks like at some point for service through this green flag run.
Yeah, Daniel Worthington actually making his coming into pit road now to get service on that 113. Almost missed the entrance of pit road as we see Jason Collins also following suit. Looks like the 113 almost hit the pit cone there, so I'm not quite sure if he did, but that's
did
definitely
he just miss
not
his box? He's really slow here. He was really slow entering the pit lane. I guess he found his pit box, but that was really slow. It looked like he missed it and wasn't totally sure. I guess he's found it.
Yeah, I think he may have thought he missed it and then was like, oh, I mean, I've been guilty of that. I've missed my box or thought I've missed my box. I mean, that's definitely going to cost him some time being that slow on pit road for sure.
Side by side is our leader, but that is not for position. The car you're looking at for position behind our leader, Mitch Smith, is actually that 15 car of Grenier. Grenier has, just like you said, Patton, worked his way into second place, and he is going to bring the fight to Mitch Smith. These guys pitted 3 laps difference. Trey Shuttlesworth, our analyst tonight, our Larry Mack, if you will, how much of a difference is it to come in just 3 laps offset from somebody else with these tires?
The number that I can definitely speak on is just the fact that within 30 laps of green flag running here, we're seeing tire fall off at the 1.5 mile Atlanta Motor Speedway of over 2 seconds. So I'd have to imagine that you could potentially be looking at picking up a second or 2 just within a few laps. Or rather, by pitting early, it could be as much as 6 seconds, in fact.
And the interesting thing is Mitch Smith did come in earlier than Matt Grenier, so we could see Grenier have the edge on Smith as this run goes on. The next car behind these two is Travis Miller, currently running in 3rd spot, though he is 3.7 seconds back of Grenier, let alone up to Mitch Smith. So you can see the interval there on the left side of your screen in our ticker. It's about 4.2, 4.3, depending on how things sit and how he gets an exit out of the corner. But he does have John Kinder to worry about. They're actually side by side down the front stretch through the quad oval and into turn 1. John Kinder goes fastest for now, and he goes right on by Travis Miller because there's an 11-lap difference in when those two pitted. Miller actually pitted later, so more recently than both of our leaders, but John Kinder pitted only 4 laps ago. So he's got much better tires, and he's going to immediately catch these leaders here pretty quick.
Yeah, those fresh tires, he's just going to eat. He's going to eat everything up here. As we see, he's just making that gap even smaller and smaller. So I expect him to catch up pretty quick within the next couple of laps. As we saw there, he was just 2.5 seconds, and now he's just under 2 seconds. So definitely fresher tires are going to play it into his favor very well. Actually, and if I think about it before, I think John Kinder was actually involved in our first caution. I think he was either leading or in second, and got tangled up there during our little technical difficulty stage there. So we actually see almost some contact there with the 9 machine.
So John Kinder working his way back up to the field. He's only 1.8 seconds or so back of our race leaders now. You can see he's on board the right side of your screen as he continues to try and reel in Matt Grenier and Mitch Smith. Matt's charge has led him right to the gearbox, well, the back bumper anyways, of the number 19. This is your battle for the race lead, and they are nose to tail across the stripe down at a turn number 1 one more time, and they've got, let's see, just under 50 laps to go now. It's right about 47, I think, as they cross the stripe, and they've got someone new bearing down on them. So if Grenier is going to get this pass done, he's got to get it done now, and even so, he's still got to worry about John Kinder. We've got a 3-horse battle, if you will, for the race lead.
John Kinder actually got the better end of that stick there. As we see Matt Grenier got thrown up the racetrack there. So he's going to try to use this lap car to his advantage. They're actually going to go double file. Side by side, rather, if you will, into turn 1. Looks like he made the pass. So now it's going to more so try to use that draft off the 13 car, try to get a run on 19.
It's working for him right now. You can see on the onboard, he got up alongside of that lap car for a moment. That's the number 13. Let me find it here. I have the technology to find the driver of the 13 car. It's Brian Terry that these guys are contending with, and these leaders might be yelling at Terry, actually, to get out of the way, get out of this battle, don't play into it. At the same time, it's certainly helping Mitch Smith, so if you're Mitch Smith, you want him to keep holding up that 21 of John Kinder. Let him burn those tires up. But if you're John Kinder, of course, you've got to be upset as wow. A power move for the race lead. I think Mitch Smith got the wall.
Yeah, Mitch Smith may have just barely tapped the wall there. Definitely being on the outside there, being squeezed like that, definitely took some air off of that machine. And that just really killed his run as we see him starting to fall back, got stuck on the outside line there. If I'm Matt Grenier, I'm going to try and use these lap cars to my advantage to try and steal second here.
Well, he does steal second for the moment anyways. He gets on by Mitch Smith, and there's a difference in those two tires, as I mentioned. So that's going to aid Matt Grenier's advance back into P2 where he previously was, rather. You see John Fix getting into that mix. Daniel Worthington now as well can be caught in frame from time to time. They're going to catch up to Brandon Robertson now. John Kinder is anyways. Is actually, wow, I saw the 9 kind of push the 113 wide through the quad oval. So John Fix and Daniel So Travis Miller is now going to start his battle back up to P3 or so. He's going to start trying to chase down Mitch Smith, and he pitted 4 laps later, 4 laps more recently than Mitch Smith, so he's going to have the tires to get up there and contend. Meanwhile, you saw some lap cars getting in the way of things. John Finks, Daniel Worthington, they were going at it even though they're 2 laps apart, and both are lapped cars to the race leaders. Grenier settles into second. That battle for second and third dissolves quickly. Looking throughout the race field, though, Wes Wiegand goes on by Brandon Young, and we haven't talked about that 51 all night long, at least while we've been here. Of course, technical difficulties kind of sidelined us for a little bit, but we thank you for keeping with us. Brandon Young right all over the back of the 118. No, that is the 188. Of Wes Wiegand, and he's trying to fight back, but that pass was just made by the 188 of Wes. So Wes is going on by. That is for 7th spot, in case you're wondering. Wyatt Brackett is next up for Wiegand to try and track down, and he's about 1.7 seconds back. Thankfully, Brandon Young has a large gap back to Ed Osborne. You can see there, almost opposite ends of the racetrack. Osborne goes into turn 1 now. Our pole sitter not quite backing up that qualifying run, but still a really good run to sit in the top 10 here at Atlanta. It's tough to do even in an 11-car field. So the fact that he's doing it in a 23-car field, nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, just an update on Mitch Smith. He actually just came into pit road to get some service on that machine, so it looks like he'll be getting probably 4 tires and fuel here. As we see, the 22 actually just hit the wall. Travis Miller into the outside wall, keeps that thing going.
He's got a lot of damage, though. The whole right side of that
so.
car is pretty tore up. It's definitely pancaked. He's immediately going to pit. He's got one of our new sponsors on that we'll talk about here in a little while, but the BRP Racing Series, a dirt racing series, featured on his hood, and we'll talk about them here shortly after this pit cycle. But, man, the 22, not looking that great right now. I don't think he's going to back up his race win, and he was actually doing really good. He was up to 4th spot, but now pitting with about 37 laps to go. I'm very curious here, Mr. Shuttlesworth, Mr. Larry Mack, if you will. How are these guys looking to the end? Because this is a bit earlier than I thought they would pit. I mean, you're looking at 37, 38 laps to the end from here. I think 39 if you're Mitch Smith. That's a lot to go on these tires. I thought they would have tried to limit it to closer to 33.
I don't think in this case tires are necessarily the concern, because I don't think that's enough fuel in the tank for Mitch Smith, especially considering he pits with about 38 or 39 laps to go. Conventionally, at a 1.5 mile track like this, such as Atlanta Motor Speedway, we're seeing full fuel runs of 60 to 65 laps. So you divide that in 2 for our half of a fuel cell that we have in the Cup cars here in the Bluegrass iRacing series, and we're only looking at 30 or 35 laps of fuel at maximum that these guys are able to stretch the tanks conventionally. So he's going to have to do some very extreme fuel saving. And of course, the extreme tire wear could play into his favor, because that'll encourage him to do a bit more clutching and coasting in the corners to do some fuel saving.
So there you go. And yeah, I had actually forgotten about the half fuel rule here. These guys run half fuel tanks, so they don't have the full fuel load to work with. They've definitely, if they want to match their fuel run to their tires, they've got to save fuel. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this turn into a fuel mileage race. We've seen a couple of them more recently here on PitStop TV, and they're always fun to watch and fun to think about. It's certainly going to be interesting. I think if you're in John Kinder's seat, though, you're looking pretty darn good. He's got a few more laps to go. It's a matter of whether or not he's got the tires left in the bank to do it, because, of course, he may have had one fewer set of tires and might not be able to take tires when he comes back in for fuel the next time around. He's definitely got to pit one more time. Justin Winters in second place also has to pit one more time. So the questions now surround fuel a bit more than tires, but also these guys might be trying to play something with their tire strategy. It's all just going to have to work its way out. Meanwhile, Wiegand still has company from Brandon Young. This is for 3rd place.
Yeah, Wiegand's got his hands full for sure. Brandon Young all over the back bumper. We've been following them for the last probably 10 laps. And, they've been putting on a fight. Really hard, clean racing. As you see, Matt Grenier actually showing up in the background here. And Matt Grenier is actually a lap down, so he's not actually for position there. So I expect to see him charge as we see here.
Oh, we've got a yellow. Oh, this changes everything.
Oh, Mitch Smith around in the grass on the front stretch.
And suddenly everything is turned up on its head. Everything is turned topsy-turvy. We're going to see what happens here to the driver of the number 19, the Cincinnati Reds Ford Mustang. Oh, he gets in trouble with Nick Mills out of turn number 4. His left side had recently been torn up, so we'll see what happens to him there. Man, this is not what you wanted to see from Mitch Smith. He was running a really good race for a long time here, and suddenly he's got a lot of left side damage. We'll try and page back to where this happens. I don't know what did it to him. I mean, the whole left side of that car is pancaked.
Yeah, I'm not really quite sure. Did he?
Oh, does he get loose out of the pits? I think he does. Yup, he gets loose out of the pits here. Oh, man. That's a killer, too. That's... Oh,
yeah, that's definitely not what you want to see at all. That's a driver's worst nightmare.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That's really unfortunate to see for Mitch. I mean, again, he was running a really good race, and just one mistake there, he gets into the inside wall after getting a bit loose, exiting the pits, and it's easy to do here at Atlanta, and then it's hard to say exactly what happens here, but his race is already relatively handicapped, and it's hard to say if Mills goes down or if Smith goes up. I think they just met in the middle, and that's going to hurt them both quite a bit. And, man, that's another heavy hit there for Smith. And then Nick Mills as well. I mean, he was running towards the front along with the number 19. I think he had just pitted. Or no, I think he was... regardless... No, I don't think he had pitted yet because he was shown pitting here when he went into the pit lane, but he's not actually pitting. So it's tough to say. He was one lap down, so he may have just made his pit stop. Shuttlesworth may be able to fill us in on that, but Nick Mills and Mitch Smith, a couple of front runners that honestly were shaping up for really good runs, and they're now both likely out of it. John Kinder exits the pit lane, and he is still your race leader.
Yeah, I'll let Shuttlesworth lead in on that.
Reporting on what exactly? I'm sorry, I was getting a screenshot there of the incident between, it would have been Nick Mills and Mitch Smith there off of the exit of 4.
We've been corrected here by Alan Wigand that it's not Wiegand, and it is Wigand. So, let's see, Wes Wigand instead of Wiegand that we've been saying. So we appreciate the insight there, Alan. But you got to admit, it looks almost like it could be Wigand or Wiegand. So we apologize, and we'll say Wiegand from here on out. And we really do appreciate that insight. We also have some insight on a couple of sponsors that we want to share with you guys, and we'll pull that up for you here. We're going to lead off with Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. We also want to thank a brand new sponsor to PitStop TV, the BRP iRacing Series. That is a series run and owned by Northeastern Big Block Modified drivers, crew guys, and fans. And actually, it's being represented here this evening on Travis Miller's machine. If you're looking to get into dirt racing or already are, this league is for you. BRP is a fixed setup league that runs 360 wing sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the big block mods to their series lineup upon their release on the iRacing.com service. You can find BRP on their Facebook page, the BRP iRacing Series. We, of course, also want to thank now, it seems like longtime partner, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine. And when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give them a call today to book a consultation. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. Again, that number is 207-358-8683. And if you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you'll see that they do monthly giveaways. And, of course, as always, if you submit your entry, you just might win. Everybody likes free stuff, no matter what it is, so give it a shot. Of course, also want to thank Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization that specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing with things such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Whiplash Media can be found at whiplash-media.com. And Trey, Mr. Shuttlesworth, you know a thing or two about our photography program. You were up there at Jennerstown with us last week for the Motor Mountain Masters. That's what it is. There we go. I can rethink of race names. The Motor Mountain Masters at Jennerstown Speedway Complex in Pennsylvania. That was a fun one. I'm glad you were able to make it out to it. And we'll have you again this weekend at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the Lucky Dog Racing League as we get to see them go real racing this time instead of just sim racing. We're also going to have Ricky Martinez added to our lineup for that one.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting the chance to come down and see some amateur road racing. Yeah, we're going to see guys tackle the turtles at Daytona International Speedway in the NASCAR National Series, and then there will also be guys tackling the turtles of the Charlotte Roval, so it should be pretty exciting. A couple endurance events on hand. It should be a pretty fun time.
And we can't wait to see how those pictures look. You did a great job at Jennerstown, and I really look forward to seeing what you can do at the ever-beautiful Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jennerstown, though, is also beautiful. It's a really good facility, a really good hometown short track. You should definitely check out if you're ever up in the Pennsylvania area. It's really close to the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, kind of close to Pittsburgh as well. We're going to go green flag racing here once more. It's lap 107 of 134. John Kinder, your race leader. Justin Winters, second place. It's Brandon Young in third. We're back green flag racing after a long green flag run and 2 sets of pit cycles. Everybody comes in for service this last time around. It's a matter of who was able to take tires and who wasn't. John Kinder, your race leader, out of turn number 2.
Yeah, Brandon Young squares himself into second place. Justin Winters following in suit, right behind in third place. As we see that gaggle of cars behind them, but John Kinder seems to hold on to the lead here as we come to about 25 laps to go.
Watching from the top of the tower, we see a slow car at the bottom of the racetrack a little further back. And he's going to gaggle them all up, and they're wrecking down the front stretch, and it's Mitch Smith again. Oh my gosh! Oh, and he's up and over. Who is that? Who was that slow car? I think that was John Elliott. It was.
Yeah, down
oh
on the
gosh.
apron and just not an ideal rejoin. Not quite sure what happened there. We will get a replay, and we will square that away for you guys here. Yep, looks like lost my train of thought there.
I said it was Mitch Smith. It was actually Matt Grenier that was caught up in that, who actually was not involved in the last incident, but Nick Mills was, and man, we see it all happen again there on the front stretch. So he's in front of Mitch Smith here down the back stretch. We'll see what happens to him. And John Elliott, the gray goes number 5, center of your screen, and he gets loose into 3, so that starts it all off, and he's trying to hold that car out of harm's way, so he's trying to do the right thing, trying to stay out of harm's way, and then just slow on the bottom of the racetrack, and these guys didn't have time to check up, and unfortunately, he ends up going a bit wide out of that first dog leg, and then ends up collecting Nick Mills, and man, that one, unlike the 5 car, will not go over well, and we'll have to wonder how everybody reacts to that one. We'll watch it from a couple more angles. Man, that's one that you really do hate to see, unfortunately. And I'm not sure what else there really is to say about that one. It's just a massive, massive incident. You'll see it here. We'll go slow-mo as well. You see Grenier in the wall hard. John Fix back in it. Travis Miller gets caught up, last week's winner. Nick Mills, who was just involved in an incident with Mitch Smith, he gets into this thing as well. Man,
I think Travis Miller actually just missed that.
I think he got some contact, but he ends up driving through the rest of it.
That was, yeah, you saw him wiggle a little bit there when he checked up. He did a really good job holding on to that race car for sure. A white bracket right behind him as well did a really good job of keeping that car straight.
You know what? Let's watch the onboard here for the number 5. And, man, we talked about John Elliott and how much we loved his paint scheme last week. And this is another good-looking one. I think this one painted by Cameron Colby. I could be wrong. It's a great-looking car. Unfortunately, it's not so great-looking now. And he downshifted there as well. And, I mean, he was I'll give him all the credit in the world. He was just trying to keep out of harm's way. Unfortunately, it ended up putting him in harm's way, and it causes a massive, massive incident down the front stretch here at Atlanta. And now it's going to leave him, as you can see, stuck in the pit lane, a lot of body panels missing, and that's likely his race done.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if they have quick repairs, and if he does, he might be able to. I know he had to tow, so if he has a quick repair, he might be able to get back out there.
Yeah, I'm just not so sure he can come back from that one. I mean, you're tipped over and everything. When you flip a race car at a place like this, you're generally never going to get back into it. I say that, and Dale Earnhardt, of course, made his comeback at Daytona after flipping. But still, when you flip a race car at all, you must have had a big enough accident to end your race, usually. Sometimes you can keep racing, most of the time not. John Kinder, your race leader. Brandon Young, second place. It's Justin Winters in third. Wes Wigand, there we go, in fourth. And Ed Osborne in fifth. Now, we saw both Brandon Young and Justin Winters in last week's finish at Daytona, and that was certainly a thrilling one. By all means, if you did not get to see it last week, go check it out. It's on our Facebook and YouTube, and I think it's still archived on our Twitch for one more week as well. It was a thrilling one. It ended up leading to the win, though, for Travis Miller in the BRP number 22. And we saw him back out of the early goings last week as well. We saw him pull the strategy of going down to the bottom side of the racetrack tray and just slowing down, making sure he was out of harm's way. Didn't think much of it at the time. Just, there's somebody who's backing out. We'll see how it works out for him. He ends up missing the wreck some 300 yards later on lap number 1, and then he gets quiet for the rest of the race, and suddenly he kind of works his way, weasels his way into a couple of battles, and is just there when teammates take themselves out, and the seas just parted for this guy.
Yeah, that's just another thing that you look for. More so, luck is a word you could say, but more so, a word I hear Trish Ellsworth say a lot is attrition plays factor. And, that's something you definitely like to have on your side when racing, just stuff like that, it goes your way. And then, fortunately for Travis Miller, it worked out for him at Daytona, and, he is on top of the series standings right now. Not a bad night for him right now. He had a little bit of a hiccup earlier, may have gotten caught up in that last wreck, but, he's still sitting in the top 10. He's sitting in 7th right now.
Yeah, no, he's still looking good for the rest of the evening. It's just a matter of executing these next 20 or so laps. And really, I think that's all it is from here on out. It's attrition that you mentioned, but also just execution. You've got to make sure you come in here and you execute for the next 20 or so laps, however long it may be once we go back green flag racing. I think it should be right at 20, yeah. So it's just you can't make a mistake here in the late goings, because as you saw with John Elliott, when you make one little mistake going into a corner or even out of a corner, here at Atlanta it seems to always be accentuated. It seems to always be multiplied, and you're going to lose a lot of time, and it's hard to get that time back. That's the most important thing. No matter how little a mistake may be, it's hard to get that 10th or that 100th, even that 1,000th of a second back, and that's where the differences come in. We've seen close finishes with Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte, Jeff Gordon and Kevin Harvick. It's been that small of a difference before, and it absolutely could be again.
Absolutely. I expect a good battle going on here. Brandon Young and John Kinder have really been putting on a show up front. John Kinder has led a good amount of this race. I think he might have what it takes to bring it home tonight.
Alex Huffman in the YouTube chat saying he's spotting for Justin Winters. Fair enough. We talked to Justin about Huffy last week. Good to see you're out there, Huffy, and hope you're doing well. We're coming to the green flag here in just one moment to get this race back restarted. We have a 20-lap sprint to the end. This may as well have just been a 20-lap race altogether. We're going to go green flag into turn number 4. It's John Kinder, your leader. It's Justin Winters in behind him in third place. And they go back green flag racing across the stripe. We restart 20 laps to go. John Kinder over now. Justin Winters into second place.
And Justin Winters clears Brandon Young for second, made it look easy, got a good jump there on the inside behind John Kinder. Cycles him out second as we're looking Travis Miller way down, went from about the outside wall down to the bottom as he's actually challenging for fourth spot now.
So these top three nose to tail, and they're trying to make their little bits of moves. You see them dodging left to right, trying to find the air and try to find the run that's going to work for them. It's going to work right here for Brandon Young. Teammates, as far as we know, with Justin Winters, as they go off into turn one, it's going to work out for the 51, at least for now. He's going to make that spot up, and Winters now falls victim to one Travis Miller. Look at this guy. We were just trying to write him out of things, and he's right back in it. So he's going for fourth, now going for third on the inside of Justin Winters. He noses ahead through 3 and 4. He does, I think, have the best tires in the racetrack. He pitted 5 laps ago, and under that most recent caution, rather. And Travis Miller, the fastest lap on the racetrack, quickly done up, though, by Joshua Abb.
Yeah, further back in the field around the 08, we got a gaggle of cars right behind Mitch Smith and everything. We actually got Nicholas Nagel was actually down on the apron there for a second. So we got a group of about 7 cars right here going side by side, and it's just a big cluster of cars.
The battle for the lead goes on, though. John Kinder's got company from one Brandon Young, and Young almost had that lead. He was 3/4 a lap away from winning at Daytona. It's always the one that you want to win, whether it's 500 miles or not.
We got a car around! Mitch Smith up into the wall, Jason Collins as well. Sorry to cut you off there, Andrew, but 2 cars up into the wall. I believe Jason Collins' race is done. Mitch Smith is also done, engine blown. Definitely not a good day for Mitch Smith.
The 19 is at least rolling right now, and it looks like he's under power. But, yeah, no, that's a lot of damage to that Cincinnati Reds, number 19. We'll see what happens here in turns 1 and 2. Oh, he gets hit. And now he had to check up, go down to the bottom, and at the same time, the 27 kind of lunged in there. The 27's Joshua Miller, and they just met in the middle. Another one of those things, it's hard to say. One thing leads to another, and they just make a lot of heavy contact, and big incident here in turns 1 and 2. We'll get a slow-mo look at it this time by.
Yeah, I don't know if he may have clipped the apron there, because it looked like a little bit before. He may have clipped the apron there, slowed him down a little bit. I'm not quite sure if it did that again. It looks like he just went up the track a little bit, tried to come back down. 27 was already there, and just, you know, the victim due to circumstance. You see Jason Collins try to go up high to miss it, and unfortunately just absolutely clobbered him.
And there was more contact. You see Worthington make some contact with the 08 there of Nagel. Nagel goes up into the wall out of turn number 2, hits the Chevrolet sign with his Toyota Camry. Worthington saves it on the bottom. But the big thing is Mitch Smith making all that heavy contact with the outside wall and Jason Collins.
We got contact under caution. The 4 machine's around.
So Anthony Petrillo's.
Not quite sure what happened there. I don't know if it was some displeasure, but definitely some left front damage, it looks like, to that machine.
Well, we'll watch this and see what happens here to Petrillo's. Oh, you know what? He was trying to get his lucky dog and runs into the wall, and then Joshua Abb. Yeah, he was trying to get his lucky dog right there.
Oh, that's not good. It's not good at all.
We'll watch this one more time around, and you know what? We can go from his onboard this time, and I mean, definitely not how you want to see a night go for somebody just trying to get back into things. Suddenly, the night might be over because you're trying to get your lap back, and then right here, yeah, I mean, I can see it, though. Those guys were not giving him a whole lot of room on the outside of the racetrack. Joshua Abb in the 05, I don't think realized there was a lucky dog coming, and you know, in NASCAR, you usually have that live human spotter there for you. The iRacing spotter usually does not pick that up. I don't think ever picks that up saying there's a lucky dog coming. So you have to really just hold to the inside and hope you guess right that he's on his way. That time, Joshua Abb just kind of, you know, he's not worried at all about it. He's just doing his thing, pacing under caution, and he goes up the racetrack just that little bit, and that hole suddenly closes, and I think just seeing the hole close for Petrillo's, he just kind of ran in the wall and then into the 05.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. You know, also one of those things, you know, when you're in that situation, That's a driver's nightmare, just hoping I have enough room to get through and don't hit the wall, don't spin out, and then unfortunately right there, hit the wall and, got squeezed up more or less. Not like it was on purpose or anything. Things happen, but definitely unfortunate. I'm not quite sure how much damage there on Joshua Ab's machine. Looked like he got hit in the right side, so could just be door damage, but hopefully he's okay. Hopefully that car's good. So, I mean, sitting in 5th place, definitely not what you want to see with 14 laps to go.
Now, as we do pace under this most recent yellow, we do want to take a look at our season schedule. You can see here Daytona last week, 100 laps. That was won by Travis Miller. This evening here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, 134 laps. We've got 14 of those to go, now 13 as we cross the stripe. Richmond next week, we're going to have a guest producer. We'll reveal that later on, who that may be, but we'll have a backup producer. Sorry, not next week, 2 weeks from now at Charlotte. My bad. I'm getting weeks all mixed up. I know I've got this trip to Colorado coming up, and we are all kinds of stressed about that. It will be for Charlotte, so we have an extra week to work that one out and stump you guys as to who it may be. But we have Atlanta tonight, Richmond next week, 200 laps. Then we were going to follow it up with another 200-lap race, just at a track twice the size at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Then we get back down to a bit of a shorter race at Pocono. Indianapolis to follow that right up. 2.5-mile super speedways, both 80 laps apiece to get through the midsection of the schedule, and then it's really just setting up for the end. I mean, you have Darlington in there, that's going to be a long one, 250 miles. Bristol, 250 laps. Talladega, that'll be a toughie right there. We saw how that went for LTAC. That certainly is going to be a challenging one. The Roval in there as well. We saw that one in LTAC and how that one went. That could certainly throw these guys for a loop. You see Martinsville, your penultimate race, and then, of course, this is the Bluegrass iRacing Series. These guys from Kentucky, they're running a full-length race at Kentucky. So to close the season out, that should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to see how that one goes. Also want to look to our standings coming into this evening. Travis Miller, of course, with that win at Daytona, vaults himself up into P1. It's Justin Winters in second. You can see from there, he's actually tied for second with Scott Fritz. Grenier in fourth, Brackett in fifth. Brandon Young in that last lap incident falls to sixth place. Mitch Smith, we just saw get involved in those incidents. He is in seventh coming into tonight. I dare say he'll fall out of the top 10 after this one. John Fix as well, likely. Joshua Abb, he's ninth coming in. He might gain some spots, actually, despite that contact. We'll see how it works out. And, of course, Wes Wigand wrapping up your top 10. 12 laps to go as you prepare to go back green flag racing here, Mr. Trey Patton. And, man, it's going to be a wild one. We just saw the short little jaunt that we had not so long ago after we thought we had a 20-lap sprint. Now we've got an 11-lap sprint once these guys come to the start-finish line. And, man, again, it really could just be an 11-lap race and let these guys settle it out themselves. We're going to have some worn tires. We're going to have some somewhat newer tires coming to the green flag. Again, 11 laps to go. Kinder, your race leader, Miller second. It's Brackett third, Wiggin fourth, and Joshua Abb in fifth.
Yeah, good restart there by our front row. Cycled themselves out, singled themselves out rather. As we see nose to tail further back in the field there, we see Brandon Robertson up in the 2 car was up on the high line there. It looks like Travis Miller is going to look to the high side there, try to make the pass for the lead. Doesn't quite get it done. Looks like he's going to fall back below here, almost hits the wall. I believe that's gonna actually might run him out there. I thought he was gonna fall victim to fall back to third, but it looks like he's actually having that outside line work to his favor right now.
Well, remember, he's got better tires than Kinder, but the other guy with good tires here is Wyatt Brackett. He actually pitted 1 lap later than Miller, so he's got the same tires to work with as the 22 car. Better tires than your race leader, John Kinder, and they are on the offensive right now. Justin Winters, another one to look at. He pitted 6 laps ago under that most recent yellow. He might have new tires. Again, these guys only have 3 sets of tires after the first one they started on. It looks like Winters definitely has tires. He kept one in the bank. Would you look at that? So the 88 car suddenly is working up possibly a run to the win.
Yeah, that would be definitely something to look at for sure, and definitely he's up there in the point standings, if I recollect that correctly. And, he's definitely got, looks like 7 laps fresher tires than Wyatt Brackett. So he's only on 8-lap-old tires this time. So he's definitely got the freshest tires out there. And as we see, he's running faster laps than everybody on the track right now. And he's got that clean air, so that might work into his favor.
Up outside of Brackett, he gets that pass done. Now into third, looking from the blimp atop the speedway. Falls in behind Travis Miller, and he wants to get on by that 22 so he can have a heads-up run with John Kinder to the end. He's been in this position before somewhat, where he's battling Miller for the race win. Last week, though, it was after a big wreck out of turn 2, and really there was nothing Winters could do about it, but he pushes Miller up into the fight with John Kinder, so that means Winters can sit by and wait for a mistake. Will he go 3 wide out of turn 2? He looks for it, he does! 3 wide down the backstretch, off into turn number 3 go Kinder, Miller, and Winters. Winters on the bottom side pushes Miller up, kind of up in behind Kinder, who shut the door on the 22 car, and Winters is going to go by easily for the race lead.
What a move. That push down the front stretch really helped, as you see it pushed.
He just opened his hole up.
Oh, yeah, he did. He forced the issue, pushed the 22 ahead, and, once he had that run, they both had the run there, took that to his advantage, took it 3 wide. As you see, we're coming up on a slow car, but, you see now Justin Winters, the freshest tires on the track, and now he's leading with 5 to go this time.
And Miller's fallen back. He's abused the tires in that number 22 Ford Mustang. Up the racetrack behind Nick Mills. Contact! Somehow they keep it going, but a lot of contact for the 22 and the 8. Just to the wrong place at the wrong time. He was going up the track on those now hot tires. They're a bit newer than some of these guys, but they've been abused and used, and gets in that bad spot. The battle's on for third, though. Right the 22 out of this. He might fall victim even to Joshua Ave. Into turn 3 goes the battle for P3 as Wyatt Brackett in the 33 tries to hang on to that spot over Wes Wiggin. Wes Wiggin going to look now to the high side. Coming to 4 laps to go. And, man, I'm not sure that it's really a battle for the win now. Justin Winters on so much better tires. He's just driving away with this one.
Yeah, driving away for sure. I don't know if Alex Huffman, you said he's up on the stand for him. I don't know if he's calling the shots for him for strategy-wise.
If so, that was a great call.
If so, great call by Alex Huffman there. But Justin Winters definitely wheeling that thing and wheeled himself up to the lead now over a second lead.
They've got to do it over. Joshua Ave, heavy contact. This is a big one. Oh,
More
this
cars
is a
involved.
big one. John Fix as well.
Oh, man. Just when you think it's over, we're going to stack them up one more time for a green-white checkered.
Well, actually, I was going to put Shuttlesworth on this job. Do we have green-white checkers here?
If I recall last week, I believe we had the option for up to a maximum of 3 green-white checkers here in the Bluegrass iRacing series.
You see the contact here with Brandon Young, Joshua Ab. Young just, he held his line. Ab went up the racetrack a bit, just pushing, just like you saw Miller do. Collects Noggle, goes for a big wild ride here. And, the 27 chose wrong. He actually ends up going straight into the 05, and they all wreck behind, actually trying to whoa up and miss it. I don't think everybody was on the same page, and it creates a much, much bigger mess.
Throw that flag down, Barney. We are going to rack them and stack them one more time as we look back. Just got from race control. We will have 2 attempts at a green-white checker. Really hard hit there. Oh my gosh, what a ride.
You see the hits just kept coming. Ed Osborne gets involved as well. A lot of those guys were still really cooking through that crime scene almost out of turn number 4. They really were still moving through there. We're going to see what happens here with Daniel Worthington and John Fix to lead to that secondary incident. Yeah, Worthington just kept moving. And, John Fix was checking up, and Worthington just smacked dab in the back of him.
Yeah, it looked like he was just trying to drive through it. Unfortunately, at that point in time, he was dedicated to that line and just drove right through him.
I know they were showing Days of Thunder at Charlotte Motor Speedway tonight, but I don't think he had Harry Hogg in his ear telling him to drive through it. I really do wonder. I know it's the end of the race here, but you see smoke ahead, especially when it's your teammate. At least we're assuming teammates because they were working well together, Ab and Worthington last week. I could be totally wrong, but it seemed like they were teammates. You see that happening ahead. You've got to get off the gas.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just not quite sure what was going through. You know, I've been on both ends of that situation before, you know, thinking you can get through it, and then obviously you see a car swipe down to the bottom there, and then a car check up right in front of you, and you got your foot in the gas. I mean, not really a lot of time to react. I mean, he could have got off the gas sooner, but with what happened, I still think an incident may have occurred there regardless.
Yeah, and let's be honest, we've seen much worse happen here. So definitely sucks to have that kind of secondary incident, but we've seen worse. It could have been much, much bigger if you really decided to plow in there, and obviously I don't think it was anything intentional. Just sometimes you're trying to find your way through it. It's the end of the race. We get it. You definitely want to get through it. Meanwhile, we're going to reset. As you said, we're going to re-rack them, restack them, and go at it one more time. We're going to have 2 laps to go when we get back going. Of course, a proper green, white, checkered, newer to the iRacing.com service. So still, I think some people might not be aware that we have them if you're one of the OG members, if you will. But thankfully, we do have them. We get to go back at it one more time. Justin Winter is your race leader, and he's got quite the fan group right now on YouTube. We've got Ebony Willis. We've got Alex Huffman, his spotter, out there. Let's see, who else? We've got Sarah Mays. We've got definitely a set of, we got even Angie Ramirez over on Facebook. We've got multiple fans here for Justin Winters cheering him on. And you know what? Let's just be honest. He's got the tires. He should just pull right away from the whole field right here. The only other drivers close to him with good tires would be Brandon Young, who we saw involved in that most recent yellow, Nicholas Noggle, who's had some recent damage, and Anthony Petrillos, who we saw make some contact under caution not so long ago.
Yeah, they're further back in the field. The closest one you mentioned, Brandon Young, currently sitting 6th right now. Justin Winters for sure got 15 laps better tires than second place John Kinder, and about 7 laps fresher tires in third place Wyatt Brackett. So I think as long as he can get a good start, you know, don't spin the tires here. You know, it's kind of harder to spin the tires with the lower horsepower package, but you are able to do it. I've fallen victim to that somehow. But
well, especially with these old tires here.
Yeah,
these
old
guys
tires
have all
too.
run quite a few laps, and now a couple of different heat cycles on these tires. They're going to be worn out. They are going to be screaming for grip here at the end, and I wonder if this is something anybody had planned for their tire strategy, or even fuel strategy for that matter. I wonder if John Kinder, who's run now over 31 laps, I think 32 as they cross the stripe, on this set of tires and fuel, if John Kinder's got enough to go for it, Wes Wiggin, if these guys have what they've got, or what they need rather, to make it to the end regardless of what happens, because we could get another whole set of laps, and that's laps under caution, then laps on throttle. It could really mess with these guys here.
Plus, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know it like here, and I think Old Texas, before we rescanned it, it's actually not level ground, like coming from out of 4 into the quad.
No,
I
not
think
at all.
there's
It's
actually, yeah, it's bumpy and it's not level at all. So I mean, you may hit a bump or go downhill a little bit. So
again, I mean,
going up through the gears, tire spin is it could happen. So I'd be on to watch for that.
Yeah, again, we've got the best that 1997 had to offer, and it's been sitting here and getting used since and gone through multiple winters and summers. I mean, this thing is 23, 24 years old, this track surface, and it's old. It tears things up. Granted, the iRacing scan, a bit newer. I think the iRacing scan sits at about 10, 12 years old, so it's not quite as bad, but still, it's bumpy, it's lumpy, and it's ready to roll. The green flag flies. We're back at it. A green-white checkered at Atlanta. The whole field stacks up. Justin Winters off and away with the race lead.
It pulls away by about 3/10 here. That's all we can hope. Really stacked up in the back. We're actually 3 wide further back in the field. Looks like still 3 wide further on back. Looks like they got that cycled out. If I'm Justin Winters, all I'm hoping is that things can go forward to cross that start-finish line so we can finish this race.
They're racing for second place. Down on the bottom side through 3 and 4 goes John Kinder, looking for that spot back over Wyatt Brackett. They'll come to the stripe. They'll get the white flag. Under the flagman Barney, we have 1 lap to go from Atlanta. They battle further back. This is for fourth. Travis Miller has company from Noggle and more. Young is in there. He's maybe going to give a shot in the shorts of the 22. Out of turn number 2. Does he go 3 wide? He's right there with him. Meanwhile, Winner's off and away. As long as he doesn't mess up here in the next couple of corners, he's got a big race win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Out of the final set of corners, Justin Winners with Alex Huffman atop the spotter tower wins at Atlanta, and they battle back to the line.
Yeah, what a win. As we see Travis Miller actually going to score out a 6th place finish, so a good day for him. Looks like no incidents after the checkered flag, no wrecks. That definitely a big win for
Noggle,
Justin.
though, in 4th. That's a great run for that guy. He had a really rough showing at Daytona last week. It didn't look like it was going to be that great here at Atlanta, but still 4th place.
I'd take 4th place any day. Definitely a great race. Unfortunately, due to technical difficulties, we didn't get to see the first, roughly 40 laps. But let me tell you, this whole race was fantastic. These group of guys put on a heck of a show. And from what you guys got to see, I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I enjoyed watching every little bit of this. These guys put on a heck of a show. Bluegrass iRacing Series Class Act. Good win for Justin Winters. And he's going to burn them down.
Yeah, again, of course, we had those technical difficulties to open the night up, and you never want that, but we got it sorted out as quickly as we could. We got back to racing here on PitStop TV, and we thank each and every one of you tuning back in, sticking with us through Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. We really, really appreciate it. Whether it sounds like it or not, we really actually do. We appreciate every view, every like, every follow, whatever it may be, even just saying that you're here watching and pulling for somebody. I mean, we really appreciate it, and it goes a long ways. Now, we do have some guys to talk to here, so we'll try and get that sorted out here these next few minutes. Again, an amazing run here for Justin Winters. Just did everything right at the end, really, him and his crew. And, I mean, he just had the better tires straight up, and that's how you win Atlanta, I feel like. At least the easiest way to win Atlanta is just have better tires than everybody else. It's just, Atlanta is that way. Tires are a premium. So we'll step aside. We'll try and get those guys lined up for our post-race interviews. Don't go anywhere. You are watching PitStop TV with coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, race fans across wherever you're watching from. We're right back to it then with our post-race coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series. We're just going to start right off with it, right into the nitty-gritty here with one Justin Winters, our race winner. Justin, do you have a copy?
Gotcha, buddy. Go ahead.
Well, Justin, it all just went right there at the end. I mean, you had the best tires, and as I mentioned, that's the easiest way to win here at Atlanta. Just have better tires than everybody else. How'd you get to that strategy?
Our goal of the first part of the race was save our tires, don't wear them off. The tire strategy was very awkward. We only had 4 sets of total tires, so we had more than 4 pit stops, obviously. So we save. Couple green flag stints with really loose race car, but at the end we had the fresh tires to win.
Yeah, we saw Huffy in the chat talking to us a little bit, and we were wondering, did he play into the decision to take tires, here and there, and not take tires here and there, and when to pit?
He was definitely in the conversation. He actually spotted for me tonight, so give a big shout out to Alex for helping me out, and he helped our team pretty much, have a bunch of our stars up in the front 5, I think, at the end of the race.
Yeah, we saw Brandon Young going at it too. And we saw the camaraderie last week at Daytona. Unfortunately, it kind of all unraveled at a turn number 2 on the final lap. But tonight, it goes the distance and then some. You win here in overtime at Atlanta. And were you guys really preparing for overtime? I mean, it didn't look like at all we were going to go into extra laps.
That's a very good question. Actually, we was not preparing for overtime. We were saving fuel to get just to the checker flag, but we wouldn't have had much fuel left after that. But there was 3 or 4 cautions at the end of the race that helped our fuel mileage, so we were able to have enough fuel to go the distance.
Well, Justin, again, it all works out for you. A big win here at Atlanta to follow up a great run last week at Daytona. Who do you have to thank? Who makes it happen for you? And just who do you have to shout out this evening?
Yes, sir. I want to thank Allen's Body Shop for being on the car, Boots Manufacturing for being on the car. A big shout out to Alex or Huffman Designs for painting the car. And like I said, Alex did a great job spotting for me tonight. Couldn't do it without him.
Absolutely. Those spotters definitely go a long way, especially when they are a live spotter helping you out, especially as a crew chief there. So, man, sounds like he's one to keep around, huh? But thanks for your time, Justin. We'll be talking to you, I'm sure, next week at Richmond.
Yes, sir. You have a good night.
And so that's Justin Winters wrapping up a big win at Atlanta. I'll turn it over then to Trey Patton with 3rd place Wyatt Brackett.
Hey Wyatt, this is Trey up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do.
And you were wheeling and dealing that machine tonight. You started 5th, brought it back 3rd. Just talk us through that race. Man, I mean, Atlanta's a tough track. You really got to drive the track more so drive against the other competitors. Tire wear definitely played an effect. Just talk us through the race.
Well, we had gone in planning to kind of run our tires as long as possible the first set because we knew we had limited tires. We wanted to save them for the end. So ran that first set for about 60 laps, and then we finally got on those clean sets. And my goal most of the night was to stay right in the top 10 and just kind of wait it out for the end to try and get the win or a top 5 finish. And we took that 3rd place home, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, most definitely good points today for sure. You were right up there at the end. Thought you might have had what it took to get it done, but you were the second out of the top 3. You had the second freshest tires. Right behind you, Noggle and Brandon Young had about 7 laps fresher than you did. But as we see here, you finished ahead of them, and then Justin had the freshest out of everyone, and just pulled away there. So, did you think you had any shot at it there on that final restart?
I thought I would for a split second. I just had to hope that idiot would mess up his line or something, but he just had that phenomenal restart, and I tried being right on his bumper. I got out in front of the 21 for a second, but he just got that run off of 2, and I couldn't get back up to him. So I was happy with the 3rd place finish. As long as I didn't let nobody else by me, I was happy.
So reiterating used tires and everything. So going into these runs, restarts on older tires, was more so tire spin an issue or a thought in your mind? Coming out of 4 into the quad over there, it's pretty bumpy and it's not level. So did that tend to upset the car at all on these old tires?
No, as long as you're easy on the old tires when you're getting going, you just don't full throttle right off. You just ease into it, man. They're not that bad. So as long as you kind of take your time to get up to speed, the old tires aren't as bad as everybody thinks they are.
Gotcha, for sure. I haven't ran much on this new tire model here, or even the new package here, so I know it definitely was a factor in the old one. But who makes it happen for you, man? You got anybody to thank for tonight?
I got to thank my team, man. We've all been communicating really well. We've been talking pit strategies. We all try and run together. We had a few mishaps. Brandon, he got a black flag going into the pits, and then Matt got taken out in an accident early. And then my father, David Brackett, kind of just got caught up in the traffic and got caught up under a pit stop and a caution, so I put him a lap down. So I just got to thank my team. We've been working hard at this. So they're the keys to this success so far.
That's good stuff, man. What can we expect from you next week?
Be in the top 5 again.
All right, man. We'll most definitely be looking forward to talking to you next week. Good luck, and hopefully you can carry this good points day momentum into next week.
Thank you very much. You guys have a good night.
You as well, ladies and gentlemen. That is Wyatt Brackett, our third place finisher.
And next up, we're going to kick it over to our lovely social media guy and race analyst. It's Trey Shuttlesworth with 5th place, Brandon Young.
Brandon Young, do you have a copy? It looks like your mic's muted at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, it was a pretty chaotic race up and down the leaderboard for you, but you'll come away with the top 5. What are your initial feelings coming out of 200 miles at Atlanta tonight?
I got lucky, that's for sure. The strategy played right into our hands. My teammate won the race, and pretty good night.
You know, we keep going right to tires, and of course, we were just at a race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. What was your strategy coming into tonight, knowing that you kind of had to save quite a bit with only having an additional 3 sets of tires in a race where you're probably going to have to pit 4 or 5 times?
Just save, man. We started the race off in the back and let everybody just play its course and saved, and save fuel. Try to go as far as we could on the fuel run and just pitted. And actually, I don't think I even got tires until like lap 75. So I ran first 75 laps on the first set of tires.
So yeah, looking at timing and scoring, it looks like you were on tires for the last 15 laps of the race. Were they completely fresh tires that you were able to put on there at the end?
Oh yeah, those last 3 pit stops, I got fresh tires each time.
Hey, that goes to show that, yeah, just a little bit of tire management, making sure you're very easy getting back into the throttle, not much wheel movement rather, and it can, pay dividends. Like you said, if you were able to go 75 laps all the way before taking a pit stop for tires.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, when I did that first run on those 75 lap tires, I didn't get loose, I didn't get tight. It just felt smooth, and that's how we did it.
All right, Brandon. Looking ahead to Richmond next week, what are your thoughts and feelings as we hit our first short track of the season?
Stay out of trouble. Just avoid the wrecks at all costs, and use your fast repair when you need it, but save it till the end and see where they fall.
All right, and before we wrap up, Brandon, anyone you want to thank out there for your P5 run tonight?
Just this Bluegrass iRacing League. It's a fun group of guys, and it's a fun league, and if you're not in it, I suggest get in it next season.
All right, thank you, Brandon, and good job with that P5 finish tonight.
Thanks, man.
That's Brandon Young. He will round out top 5 tonight here at Atlanta.
All right, next up we have our 6th place finisher and last week's winner, Travis Miller. Hey, Travis, this is Trey up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
All right, so looks like you ended up 6th place after a win last week. Pretty decent run. You had a really good run there towards the end, had some good tires, and then looked like you may have got shuffled a little bit to the outside there. Did that just come to tires coming out, and you just didn't have the tires for it at the end?
Yeah, it was just, I was trying to play the tire strategy all race, and then a couple cautions came out, and I thought it was going to be caution filled, so I thought I might as well come down and take tires and then get the track position late. And then we had a long run, and it wasn't actually, I was saving my stuff. I pitted and took tires, and they were still at 99%, so kind of sucked to see that. And then, I just last corner, going into 3, I just got a shot in the back from the 51 and pushed me up the track, and we ended up finishing 6th, but I'm pretty aggressive to be doing that this early in the season and fighting for 5th, not the lead. So we always remember. That's for sure.
Yeah, better to finish 6th than last for sure, but a top 10 finish to carry up from the momentum from last week's win. What can we expect for you from at Richmond next week?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. I'm not the greatest there, but I'm gonna put some practice laps in this week, and hopefully we can have something for them, because the guys, this top group of guys, they're pretty good, and I just want to be able to compete with them and see where we are at the end of the year.
Sounds good, man. I know my strategy mainly for Richmond is mainly just to kind of let the track do its thing, let the wrecks happen, and try to stay out of trouble. It's definitely a difficult track if you're not a short track ringer, but 6th place finish, pretty good. Who makes it happen for you, man?
Oh, I just gotta thank the BRP iRacing series. They're a big supporter of me on and off the track, and Gaston's Auto Sales and Precision Auto Clinic for all they do for me. And I just gotta thank you guys for putting this on, the Bluegrass series for having the league to begin with, and congrats to Justin on the win tonight. Well deserved.
All right, man. We hope to be talking to you next week, and good luck.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Great, you as well. That is our 6th place finisher, Travis Miller.
All right, we're going to continue interviews. Next, we're going to talk to 7th place finishers tonight, Wes Wiegand. Wes Wiegand, do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right, well, I'm sure 7th place is going to be a bit disappointing after running up front at the end, but you were also nursing some older tires compared to some of your other competitors. What are your initial thoughts after getting out of your virtual cockpit?
Man, I'm really happy with how it went tonight. The last couple races I've had, the luck hasn't been with me, so to be able to run up there and the top 7 or so with those guys that were really fast, that was a lot of fun.
Good stuff. So we were talking to guys getting pretty similar answers, just basically save, save, save. What was your strategy knowing that you really didn't have enough tires to pit each individual pit stop tonight?
Yeah, when that first caution came out about lap 20 or somewhere in there, I went ahead and got some tires and tried to dig back up toward the front. And that second caution that came out, I went ahead and stayed out, put a lot more laps on my tires on that second go round, and was just a little off from those other guys.
Yeah, looking at timing and scoring, it looks like most of the guys that you're racing against there at the end were on about 15 or 20 lap. You fresh your tires there for the last run, so it seems like you did a pretty solid job against a lot of the series' more fierce competitors, at least, in the first 2 rounds so far.
Yeah, man. I'm a rookie at this whole asphalt stuff, so to come out with the 7th place today, I'm pretty happy with that. Maybe we can, do a little better next week.
Yeah, speaking of next week, we're going to a short track for the first time in the league, and what are your feelings heading into Richmond?
Well, kind of nervous, really. Like I said, I'm a rookie to this, and I've never turned any laps at Richmond, so it's going to be a long week of practice to try to be fast and keep up.
All right, sounds good. Before we head out, is there anyone that you'd like to thank for your 7th place finish tonight?
Yeah, man, I got to thank Milner Media Designs. He put some killer wraps on my cars, Factory 41, Primetime Sports Talk, and my team, DTJ. We all help each other out, so thanks.
All right, yep, thank you, Wes. That is going to be Wes Wiegand. He's going to finish 7th tonight here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And so that kind of does it for the drivers we got to talk to. But, Patton, let me ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you put this Atlanta race?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll give it probably about an 8 out of 10. Unfortunately, as we mentioned before, some technical difficulties, obviously, but that doesn't take away from race quality at all. Some wrecks happen, but, that's Atlanta. Old tires definitely coming into effect. Some aggression, it's early on. Let the kinks in the new league go out. But, yeah, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Good racing, good product, good group of guys out here. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
You know what? I think I'll give it an 8.8. I think that's fair, which would also be an 88 out of 100. But no, definitely great racing and a great way to finish things up. I know it wasn't necessarily the most exciting finish for first place, but there was great racing throughout the entire field, the entire evening long. And It definitely, I think, was the epitome of what you want to see out of Atlanta. You want to see close racing. You want to see some strategy come in, I think, with the tires. And you want to see these guys really be able to battle for their positions. Now, I think still some work to do as far as finding the sweet spot with aero and power, but it allowed these guys to race a bit and certainly open the racetrack up to some different options. Some multi-groove racing is also fun, and these guys could definitely, maybe not go all the way up to the wall like you sometimes see in real life, but certainly search around the racetrack. Before we close things out, we of course want to go through our race results. Justin Winters wrapping up the evening with a W. It's John Kinder, who had a terrible week at Daytona, turning that around actually, up to second place from the bottom to the top. Just about. He still has one more position to climb next week at Richmond. Wyatt Brackett, we spoke with him. He finishes up in third in the number 33. It's Nicholas Noggle in fourth and Brandon Young in fifth.
Rounding out our top 10, we have Travis Miller 6th, Wes Wiggin finishing 7th, Jason Collins finishing 8th, Joshua Abb 9th, and Anthony Petrillo is rounding out our top 10.
A little further back in 11th, it's John Fix, who again, not a great run last week at Daytona, but turns it around, 11th spot, not so bad. Ed Osborne recovers for 12th. Brian Terry in 13th, the only car one lap down. From there on, you have a slew of cars multiple laps down. Matt Grenier 2 laps down, David Brackett 2 laps down, Brandon Robertson 2 laps down, Joshua Miller 2 laps down, Worthington, McNally, and Mills all 3 laps down, and then Mitch Smith, John Elliott, Jack Bauer, our retirees this evening. At this point, I'll turn it over to one Trey Patton with some messages from our sponsors.
So we're looking at Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image you want, and we will create a custom, beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional information. And we're going to take a brief break for a commercial.
Sound Art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it Sound Art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound Art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
And thank you to Tucson Sound Art for that message. We also, of course, want to go down the line and thank the BRP iRacing Series, a series run and owned by Northeastern Big Block Modified drivers, crew guys, and fans. If you're looking to get into dirt racing on iRacing, already are, this league is for you. Head up BRP for a fixed setup league that runs 360 wing sprint cars and pro late models. The BRP iRacing Series will be adding the big block mods to their series lineup as well once they release on the iRacing.com service. You can find BRP on their Facebook page, the BRP iRacing Series. Of course, we also want to thank Permanent Makeup in Cryo in Maine. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give them a call today to book a consultation. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com or call or text them at 207-358-8683. Again, that is 207-358-8683. And if you hit them up over at their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you can see that they do monthly giveaways. And as always, you just might win if you submit your free entry. We also want to close things out by thanking Whiplash Media, PitStop TV's new parent organization specializing in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing with advancements such as photography, social media management, and public relations, and all of that will be on display this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway as we cover the weekend for David Levine Racing in the Lucky Dog Racing League and just get some general photos up from the Lucky Dog Racing League at Charlotte. You can find more about Whiplash Media on Facebook and at whiplash-media.com. Trey, before we close things out entirely, man, I gotta ask you, and I seem to be asking this question more and more and more. Who is your pick next week? Now, you can't pick anybody who's already won, so that gets rid of Justin Winters, that gets rid of Travis Miller. Let's assume we have a new winner. Who's it going to be?
Well, just from looking through standings here, Wyatt Brackett seems to be really quick. Nicholas Noggle seems to be quick. Brandon Young, I mean, we've seen him. He was up front for a little bit of that race. He seems to be really quick. A lot of quick guys in this. If I got to pick one, I'm going to see Wyatt Brackett. We'll see how he does next week. I think, yeah, he's my pick.
You know what? I think that is a fair pick to make. That will conclude our coverage, though, of the Bluegrass iRacing Series Georgia Peach 201. We at PitStop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Make sure to join us tomorrow evening as we bring you the return of the SRCA Indy Pro Series at Iowa Speedway, and again on Friday as the McConey Setup Shop Summer Tour wraps up from the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Make sure to follow us over on Facebook at www.facebook.com/PitStopTV, on Twitter at @PitStopTV_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/Pit_Stop_TV, and on YouTube by searching PitStop TV. This has been Trey Patton with me on the call, Trey Shuttlesworth on social media, and Jake Paticki on our second camera. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV of PitStop TV, and we will see you next time.